Hey there, good afternoon. Welcome to the 4 to 5. Eric Chilton here, Chad Silver, Monique Robinson, Lauren Coleman, the gang's all here.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching us on News 2, Fire Stick, Roku, and our News 2 app.
Coming up this half hour, we're going to be talking about something very interesting. Eric, you did a story on augmented reality when it comes to first responders and how the Triad is playing a pretty big role in that.
It's almost like, think about what gamers do with an Oculus, but it's a little different, and police, fire, and rescue can use this in the future, and it's being developed at UNCG.
That's very cool. So we're going to be talking about that over the next 30 minutes. But first, the big story we are following today, the future of the Guilford County Schools bond. It has been settled. Just minutes ago, the state's local government commission voted 5-1 to approve the $1.7 billion bond for Guilford County Schools.
For the last 10 days, its approval was on hold until Guilford County leaders provided some additional information to the commission. State officials were concerned the county could accumulate a debt it couldn't pay back.
Yeah, the money will now fund upgrades, repairs, and construction costs for several schools across the district. That just happened, rather, as Chad said, and again, that will fund several schools' projects across the district.
A New York man is facing charges after he was found with a missing teenage girl from Michigan in Winston-Salem. On Sunday, 13-year-old Jada Whitehead was reported missing by her family. They said she was with 19-year-old Marquess Josephs. Investigators later found that Whitehead voluntarily left with Josephs, and they bought bus tickets from Grand Rapids to Winston-Salem. Winston-Salem police located Whitehead and Josephs yesterday at the Salem Crest Apartments. The girl is in the process of being transported back home, while Josephs was arrested and charged with kidnapping. Officials say they met online.
The world of country music has lost a legend. Loretta Lynn, the coal miner's daughter, has died. In a career that spanned more than half a century, Lynn always told it like it was. A gifted songwriter, she became a powerful voice for women tackling controversial topics like alcohol, war, and sex. Her autobiography became the 1980 hit movie Coal Miner's Daughter, earning a Best Actress Oscar for Sissy Spacek. During her lengthy career, Lynn received numerous accolades, including the Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award in 2010 and the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 2013. In a statement, Lynn's family said she died at her home in Hurricane Mills, Tennessee. Loretta Lynn was 90 years old.
A lot of people talking about this. You know, she had such a huge impact on country and just women in that same genre, singers, songwriters. I know I've seen like Reba McEntire, Dolly Parton, just different people all over social media talking about how she influenced their career.
And she was such a tough cookie. She spoke out about things like you mentioned in that story that people didn't talk about as much way back then, especially women. So she crossed lines, and she said, I had to because there's so many women out there that could identify. She said she got pregnant when she was 17. She said, I saw a quote. She said, I know what it's like to be 17, nervous and pregnant. And she said, I had to face this on my own. They were from a very poor family. And so a lot of her songs, there was one, You Ain't Woman Enough to Take My Man. I mean, she was like in people's faces. She was a tough cookie. I just loved her style.
And I really don't know much about her or her style of music, but as a modern day country music fan, I know that she helped pave the way for men and women to be able to do what they do and be successful at it.
Go to YouTube and look up a couple of her songs today. Yeah. Pretty cool.
All right, some other news today. President Biden will visit Florida tomorrow as they clean up from Hurricane Ian. As you know, the Fort Myers area was hit the hardest. 105 people are now confirmed dead, 101 in Florida and 4 in our state. More than 500,000 are still without power today. Search and rescue teams are going door to door to find the missing. They've already rescued more than 2,000 people.
The remnants of Ian is creating more flooding at our coast. The system is spinning near the Outer Banks, pushing ocean water ashore. The National Weather Service issued a coastal flood warning through tomorrow. Some areas could see up to 4 feet of oceanside flooding. Be careful if you have plans to head to the coast.
While we only saw rain and high wind gusts from the storm here at home, we received several reports of downed trees across the Triad. As damage assessments get underway, we spoke to one roofing business with some advice so you don't get scammed.
Always call a professional to come out and take a look at your roof. Don't ask a neighbor. The first thing they need to look for is, go outside and see if you got any limbs and debris in your yard, and just take a look up at the roof and see if they have any missing tabs or anything. A lot of times the tabs will blow up, and sometimes they'll blow off of the roof, and you can find them laying around on the ground.
He says you should beware of anybody, by the way, that just shows up at your door.
Social media is still buzzing about Hurricane Ian. Conversations range from damage to climate change. Experts say global warming is making hurricanes worse. Warmer water and lower pressure mean more powerful hurricanes. Now, global warming is one of the key indicators of our changing climate. It is helping to warm the ocean. This warm water is the fuel hurricanes need to form and grow. George Kosh, a professor at Northern Arizona University, says research shows hurricane intensity may increase and possibly become more frequent.
It has to do with two things. One is that the surface temperature of the ocean is increasing and will continue to increase because the atmosphere is warming. Everything is warming a little bit. And the warmer the ocean temperature, the stronger hurricanes are.
Hurricanes are not a new conversation, but the depth of their impacts are. Only 4 Category 5 storms have made landfall in the U.S. Ian was just shy of a Cat 5 when it made landfall in Southwest Florida Wednesday.
Hurricanes are things that have always happened. And what we've done by introducing this warming of our climate via production of additional greenhouse gases is sometimes intensify these events that would occur anyway, and in some cases maybe make them more frequent. But we're not creating brand new things.
It's so painful to hear how this death toll keeps rising across Florida. I mean, the numbers are still coming in as they continue to do research and rescues with the people in that area. But these impacts are getting worse and worse over the years, and it's just heartbreaking to see and hear.
I mean, you have to take what a scientist says and understand that it's a real thing. Because a lot of people are thinking, well, the climate change is so small over a long. No, it makes a difference, and over a period of decades, if we see more hurricanes like this, it's not good news.
Yeah.
And for people who might not understand what climate change is, or we have these conversations and they're like, why should I care or matter? Like, what are some things they can do to help?
We've been talking this ongoing conversation of reducing your greenhouse use. I mean, all of that contributes to the overall global warming effect. So if you have a vehicle that is more better usage, that limits CO2 emissions in the air, those are some things that you can do overall. But 1 degree can really make a big difference when we talk about our climate.
All right, well, we got to talk about the forecast now.
Yes.
How's it looking?
Good stuff.
Were you guys out early this morning?
Yes.
No.
So cold.
We took a walk, Moni.
It was chilly. It was
33 degrees. I loved it.
Yes, it was a cold start to the day. Low 40s for you. 40 degrees was that temperature in Greensboro where we started at. Now, as we move through the day, things have warmed up. The afternoon felt much better than the early part of your day. But again, it was an early start to the day for everyone across the triad. These low temperatures are more like a late October feel, not necessarily an early October. And folks asking about that first freeze, we generally see that more around that Halloween holiday. So we're not expecting for this low 40 trend to continue, as temperatures are expected to warm up over the next couple of days. But next week, it's look as though those temperatures are staying cool.
All right, we teased you at the top of the newscast here talking about augmented reality, and you got a pretty cool story today.
This is really neat here. It could be the future first responder tech, and it's being developed right here in the Triad. Very cool. It's what they call augmented reality. Video gamers know exactly what I'm talking about, but it could actually be life-saving tech for police, fire, or rescue personnel. And Dr. Regis Copper is heading this project out of UNCG, giving us a look at how it works. All right, Dr. Copper, so you've already completed one kind of simulation and you're looking for the next level, but what you've done so far, this will help police officers with what?
Right, so what we've done has been focusing on virtual reality simulation, where we're not using the real world, but everything is kind of like a video game. It's a VR simulated world, and that has the most immediate use is training. Because we can get officers into this virtual environment where it's safe, it's replicable, we can repeat as many times as we need and tweak it to all different parameters at a very low cost.
All right, let's get into it. We're going to show us how it works. You ready?
Sure,
all
absolutely.
So in this situation, you're the police officer, right?
That's right. So as you can tell, over there, the system now is scanning the license plate, and I just got a warning saying that there's something wrong with the car. This is a simulated interface for what next generation traffic stops might look like. So I can come here and I just touch this virtual display, and it tells me that, okay, it's an Audi and the inspection status is expired. So the car has an expired registration. What I can do here, because we are in a limited space, I could walk, but I'm going to teleport.
Much easier.
Yeah, here I am. And now I can talk to the driver. The driver is talking to me.
He's saying something. Yep.
He told me, "Hi, officer." Now I'm gonna ask why, if he knows why he's being stopped, and I'm asking for his license now. Now, as a police officer, I need to be alarmed because there's something wrong, and I can come to my display here, which only I see. So rather than going back to the onboard computer, which is what officers do, I can just look at this display right on my arm and get information about the vehicle.
That's amazing, because they usually have to go back and type on the laptop in the car. Now they just bring their arm up and they'll see a heads-up display, sort of, right? That would show them the info.
Exactly, and it's not only more efficient, but it's safer, because what we learned from police officers when we did our requirement analysis for the project is that they are most vulnerable exactly after they get the license, the driver's license, and they walk back to the car.
This is great. This is fascinating stuff. Thank you for letting us come in here and see this. It's great.
Now that's cool.
I could talk for about 10 minutes on this because there's so much we couldn't fit into the story. Basically, it's used for training now, or it will be used for training. They just got a grant for $1.8 million to take this to another level. So what you saw looks like a video game environment. You got the big old Oculus headsets on. Police officers in the future will be wearing something small, like regular sunglasses or little goggles. And for them, when they approach the car, they say, "Can I see your license?" You hold up the license. Their cameras that are all over them will scan that and bring up a database that only the police officer sees pop up over his arm. You won't see it as the driver, and he can go through and check where there are outstanding warrants, so they don't have to go back to the police car.
Sure.
Because what they found out in studies is that that's the most dangerous. When they're walking back, they either leave or they can be shot, and so they can stay right there. It also scans for heat signatures, so if someone's hiding under a seat or something, it will be able to detect that.
Wow.
For firemen, it'll be built into the helmets, and they'll see where the other firemen are. So if someone's passed out from smoke, they can locate him through a smoky room by following his signature. It's incredible.
So around what time frame do we think all of that advancement part will
So
be
it's
put in place?
possible, it's just the equipment hasn't been built to use his software. Right?
Okay.
So once that happens, like once they develop a helmet for a firefighter that has that built in, or even little glasses that pop up a heads-up display so the police officer can see. Also EMS, it can take heartbeat readings, all this stuff, so when they look at someone, I mean, this is futuristic stuff.
I know from a training standpoint, it comes in handy because it's like you can do a lot of like dangerous situations anywhere. It helps with soft skills like interviewing, profiling, just really cool stuff. But I didn't know about that next level.
Next 10 years, maybe 8, 10 years, that's amazing. Yep. Okay, I wish I could talk more on that.
Yeah,
We'll take a break. We'll be right back.
It's time to verify. From back to school germs to cold and flu season, it is hard to escape the never-ending cycle of sickness. You know the old saying, an apple a day keeps the doctor away? Turns out another superfruit might do a better job of keeping illness at bay. Good morning, show viewers. Susan Atkinson wrote about a post she saw circulating Facebook. It claimed, quote, "I make my family drink grape juice daily from now until March. Just a few sips each day. It keeps the stomach bug from attaching to your digestive system if you are exposed to the virus," end quote. Susan wanted to know, is it true? We've seen similar claims over the years, including one from this article on a mom blog explaining how grape juice changes your intestinal tract's pH, making it more difficult for stomach bug viruses to multiply. So to verify, we consulted registered dietitian Krista Kiger and a study published in the journal called Nutrients.
pH levels in our digestion process are so different, so variable, that if a virus can get in through your system and survive those pH levels or the different pHs, then there's no research saying that the grape juice has any pH that could trump the digestive pHs.
But she noted grape juice and plain grapes are great antioxidants, which keep our cells healthy, so they can help prevent you from getting sick in the first place. The Nutrients Journal study notes eating 2 servings of grapes or drinking 100 milliliters of grape juice can increase your gut microbiome diversity, which promotes good health. A separate study published in the American Society for Microbiology says the quality of a microbiome can explain the severity of a contagious illness like neurovirus, so why you might get sicker than your child or spouse from the same sickness. You can help stop the spread of misinformation. If you see a claim or a story that needs to be verified, send it our way to verify@WFMY.com.
Okay, I love juices, but they always trick me so much. I'm like, oh, look at this, looks like a healthy juice. And I turn it over and I look at the nutrition facts.
Oh, the sugar.
40 grams
40
of
grams
sugar.
of sugar,
Yep.
and there's no real fruit juice. So it's hard for me to even trust fruit juices these days.
Now, I love grapes and grape juice. I would drink that a lot, but same thing. You have to be careful of, look for what you're. I did do recently. I did it's an Ocean Spray cranberry grape mix, but it's low sugars because it's 50 calories.
Yes.
That was really
I
good.
have tried that before.
That's good.
So do you all have any type of regimen that you do, or make sure you drink a certain type of juice every day? Because I don't do that.
I don't either. I should.
Just vitamins.
Just vitamins,
That's
same
it.
vitamins, maybe an occasional glass of orange juice, but that sugar level on the back, that's what worries me too.
Right. And now Aaron, our producer, just said in my ear, no orange juice. But that orange juice, turn over the back, Aaron. You
Yeah,
look
you
at the
gotta look at
nutrition
it.
facts because it's not good for you.
It's not.
It's really not.
It's just like in doses, but I don't know about every day if I would have a
Right.
glass.
Now, if I made some freshly squeezed orange juice,
now
that's the key. But then you're
See, I
spending
don't like the
$100 on
pulp.
oranges.
for a glass.
Yeah.
That's the way it works. All right, we'll take a break. We'll see you in about 2 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Chilly temperatures to start the day, but by the afternoon it feels good. If you've gone for a walk this afternoon, things have felt nice. This is a sky view at Winston-Salem where you see an oasis of blue skies throughout most of this day. Not a cloud in sight. Well, there goes a lonely cloud there, but for the most part it has been plenty of blue skies for you as temperatures have warmed up. Now, one thing I want to talk about is how we're saying goodbye to 7 p.m. sunsets from here on out until about March. So you can see these sunsets are getting earlier and earlier for the next several weeks. Today, that sunset being at 6:59 p.m. and then after that, the days are just getting shorter and shorter. High pressure is dominating the forecast for the next several days. Now, we will have a cold front that moves through dry, and then we get another cold high pressure that settles in across the area for next week, making for more cool days. Now, as this high pressure shifts locations, we will warm up. So over the next couple of days, we'll get into the 70s and out of the 60s. That will be for your Thursday and your Friday, and then temperatures will crash as we go into the weekend. So your full 7 days showing you no rain chances on the entire 7 day, but take notice how temperatures fall from a 77 all the way down to 62 on Saturday. Now, those overnight lows going into Sunday, we get another round of very low temperatures. Folks out in Boone are really going to get chilly as temperatures fall down into the 30s there. 40s are right around here in the Triad, but you can see overall this forecast is below average for most of this week. We got 2 days that kind of are dancing around that average temperature for your Thursday and Friday, but overall it is giving late October. That's what this forecast looks like, kind of transitioning into that November. That's what it's going to feel like for the next several days. You see those temperatures on the cool side. Overall, though, the sunshine is sticking with us through that entire period. So no need to worry about the umbrella for the next several days as things are expected to stay dry through the entirety of this 7 day.
Time is running out to vote for our Friday Football Fever Game of the Week. Just go to our website and find the Game of the Week poll on our homepage. There are 5 games to choose from, and you can vote as many times as you like. The polls close Wednesday at 5 p.m.
All right, don't miss this. So when you travel to Europe, you might want to have some extra cash on you. Apparently in some cities like London, Paris, and Amsterdam, you have to pay to use a public restroom. The cost usually varies between 50 cents and $1, but the payoff is that the bathrooms are usually cleaned and managed by restroom attendants. So I asked you on Facebook, would you pay for that here in the States or not in public restrooms? Jason Jordan says, but are they as clean as the ones at Buc-ee's? If you haven't been to Buc-ee's, you need to check that out. Teresa said one word for you, yes. Curtis says, no, you shouldn't have to pay for that. Jeff Harvey says they have them in San Francisco and they are clean. Cost at that time was about 50 cents. And Benny says, yes, he would pay for that. I would have to say, from a public restroom standpoint, if it's 50 cents, I would pay for that because I've been in some of those where you turn around and find another room.
And that's when I just hold it throughout the day because they're just too nasty. When I moved, you know, I lived in Germany for a few years when I was younger. That was a culture shock to us when we went somewhere and you had to pay to use the bathroom, but they're super clean, so it's worth it.
You notice the difference?
Yeah, they're very clean, very clean.
So do you think that they don't give like urinating in public tickets there? Because I mean, if you're not paying to go to the bathroom,
you're pushing people out of
it's like, okay, well, I don't want to use. I'm not going to pay money, so I'm just going to go on the street.
Well, I guess that's a man thing, but on the woman side of things, I've never had that experience. But I will say for myself, there are many times where I have to use the bathroom really, really badly, and I'll go somewhere and they'll say, well, you need to buy something. But if I pay 50 cents or $1 or whatever, I'm like, okay, I'd rather do that than waste $3 or $4 just forcing myself to buy something so that I can use their facilities.
Just give me like an unlimited pass. I don't want to have to think about shelling out.
Like a Disney
or like a debit card where
$30 a year.
Just swipe. Yep. I pay. I just want to pay once. Pay, set it and forget it. You know.
Bathroom pass.
Or just have cleaner bathrooms. Just have cleaner bathrooms because some public bathrooms are unacceptable.
Yeah, they are.
It's just like, wow.
But it's also the people who ruin it for the rest of us, right?
Like,
this is why we can't have nice things.
Sometimes I'm like, how did you even manage? How did this get all the way on the ceiling?
Oh,
I don't know.
Why did you do that?
Now Chad's got me thinking of names for the pass that I can't say on TV. So we'll take a break and we'll be right back.
The P-Pass.
That's exactly what. Welcome to your 4 to 5, everyone. Eric Chilton here alongside Lauren Coleman and Chad Silver.
Hey everybody. Did you know that we're on Fire Stick?
No,
We're
what?
also on Roku.
Wait,
And
what?
we are on the News 2 app.
You are kidding me.
Man,
That is breaking news.
that is. Run that animation.
Hey, coming up this half hour, we're talking about a lot of things, but if you know this crew, you know we're talking about food.
Yes.
And this time we're talking about fair food. So if you're hungry, go get a snack because your stomach's gonna be growling after we talk about this. But first, we got to get to our 4 to 5 roundup today. First up, local county boards of election. As you can imagine, they are getting ready for the upcoming midterms. In Rockingham County today, the board fired up the voting machines to make sure they're in working order.
It's very important that we have our testing done because we don't want to find out that we have problems with our voting machines on election day. We don't want to do anything to keep anyone from voting. We want to make sure that everything runs smoothly.
And Election Day is just 5 weeks from today.
The North Carolina Board of Elections is directing county election officials not to engage in signature matching. We're reviewing absentee ballot envelopes during the year's midterm elections. The decision comes after a judge recently rejected an appeal on the matter. Republican lawmakers tried to establish the new rule to check signatures, but the court struck it down. Local election boards will not signature match on absentee ballots this cycle. There's only 10 days left to register to vote in the November midterm. The deadline is October 14th. Early voting will begin October 20th, and then Election Day is November 8th.
Well, North Carolina's Local Government Commission has approved Guilford County's $1.7 billion bond request. State leaders voted 5-1 to allow Guilford County to move forward with that bond. Now, Guilford County will use the money to cover repair, upgrades, and construction costs for schools across the district. The commission was concerned the county would accumulate debt it couldn't pay back. And we, of course, will have a live update on that decision at 5 o'clock.
Blue skies and sunshine. That's been the case all across the Triad for your Tuesday. As we look towards the north and east, you can see some heavy rainfall continuing with the remnants there of Ian, what's left of it as it continues to spin as an area of low pressure off there of the northeast. You can see heavy rainfall continuing over Pennsylvania, New Jersey, as well as Maryland and New York. Now, here at home, things are dry and quiet, but looking back in the tropics, there are some tropical systems that are worth watching. No direct impacts expected to the U.S., but keeping a close eye as both have a high chance of developing over the next 5 days. You can see this one just expected to move over the portions there of the Caribbean and continue a track that veers towards the southern tip there of Mexico. This is a look at the spaghetti model tracks. Again, we looked at these very closely when we were tracking Ian in its early stages. These spaghetti models are all potential case scenarios of where this Invest 91L is expected to go. And you can see all of these lines keeping it heading towards the Western Caribbean. Now, as you can see, this is staying towards this portion there of southern portions there of the Atlantic because there is a very strong high pressure system that's keeping it well down to the south, not expected to have any direct impacts to the U.S. Here's a look at your full 7 day. Like I said, things are dry here at home, and that's expected to stay the same all the way through the early part of next week. So sunshine is with us for the next 7 days.
The number of adults receiving mental health treatment skyrocketed throughout the pandemic. That's according to the CDC. For the first time, the U.S. Preventative Services Task Force suggests adults under 65 get screened for anxiety. Danielle Harper is a licensed clinical mental health counselor with Novant Health. She says there are major consequences to not addressing anxiety.
Oftentimes when anxiety is not addressed, it impacts not only like our mental health, it impacts our bodies. So that means cardiovascular disease can increase, kidney disease can increase.
Harper says 2 of the most common types of screenings are for general anxiety disorder and depression. She says patients are typically given a questionnaire where they are rated on how anxiety is impacting their daily living on a scale of 1 to 10.
It may ask domains of work, family relationships. Some other areas may be interpersonal relationships. And so it wants to see how it's impacting that. And then they score it. And based on your score, it determines on how high anxiety symptoms you may have. And then it may determine on like what kind of treatment you may need based on your score.
As many continue to battle stressors brought on by the pandemic, Harper says it's important to recognize what your body tells you.
Well, recognize what your body is telling you. I think oftentimes people don't realize anxiety is one of those things that can sneak up on you. And so paying attention, if you notice you're more irritable than normal, if you notice that you're being more, if you're socially isolating more than normal, if you're avoiding situations, just recognize those things that seem to be a little bit more off than normal.
Harper says you can reach out to your primary care doctor for an anxiety screening. I don't know if you all have ever taken advantage of some type of online mental health, tool or something of that nature, but usually before you schedule an appointment, they give you one of these screenings. They ask you, have you been sleeping lately? Have you been irritable? And then they have you, do medium, fair or extreme, things of that nature, like a check-in type of thing.
Wonder if primary physicians should, in the annual checkup, should always do some sort of a screening.
And that's what they're hoping will happen.
Because if you did that, and even if it's just a questionnaire you fill out before you get in there with the doc, and they see enough nose checked or whatever, and then they could recommend you that, hey, we think you might need to talk to this person.
Because I think when people hear mental health or anxiety, they're like, I don't have that.
Right.
But a lot of us stress, and you might not understand, like, that is anxiety that you're dealing with. And, maybe you could talk to someone or take a certain medication that could help you out in your situation.
I think part of the problem is, too, that us, specifically as men, are raised to, hey, you got a lot of stressors in your life, you got to deal with it. You got to tough it out. You just, roll with the punches and do the best that you can. But obviously, not everybody can live by that mantra.
And culturally, too, even beyond gender, I think in a lot of cultures and communities, it's like, what do you mean you're sad? Shake that off. You shouldn't be sad about this.
Right.
So.
It's a balance.
Another interesting topic we're focused on today. A Triad group wants to do more to help domestic violence survivors. Now, this is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and a new program in Forsyth County wants to make sure that women aren't stuck in an abusive relationship because of their pets. The Piedmont Animal Welfare Alliance will help pay for medical costs, food, and boarding for pets, since shelters don't typically accept pets. Organizers say it allows survivors to focus on healing.
They can see that their animal, their pet, their beloved pet is being well taken care of. And it just eases one of their many burdens.
The group says it is in desperate need of fosters as well. We've got more information on our website. And it really does make sense. I mean, think about it. So let's say you're a person in an abusive relationship and the both of you have a dog, and you think you want to go to a shelter for people who are victims of abuse, but you have this dog and they don't take the dog. So you stay in the relationship because you love that dog so much, and that really is the only thing that's kind of keeping you going at this point.
Yeah, a lot of people see their animals as their animals as children, essentially.
Yeah.
So that is a reason why some people might stay. But I think, there are a lot of people who foster when it comes to just regular dog shelters or animal shelters, but knowing that this is available, I think more people would probably want to step up and help out.
It's so, people in abusive situations, it's so hard for them to, it sounds ridiculous, but it's true. It's hard for them to leave sometimes because there's like an emotional dependency on the relationship, even if it's abusive. And I think you don't need any trigger to allow you to stay. So this would help with that, to take that one element out that might be something that you use as an excuse to stay in that relationship.
It's such a great program, and it's something that's I'd never really thought of before until we aired this story. I think we did this story like last year around this time, but it's just an element I never really thought about before.
Very true. All right, we'll take a break. We'll be right back.
Hey, ice cold milk and an Oreo cookie, they forever go together like a classic combination. food. At the fair, it's not just the regular folks talking about it. Local food and travel writers are tasting and telling all. This is the Instagram account for Nikki Miller-Ka. She goes by Nick Snacks. And here are a few of her faves from the Carolina Fair this year.
It's a cotton candy funnel cake. It's a new item of this year. So there's, I think in total, there's like 15 new items that have never been seen at the Carolina Classic Fair. And it is gorgeous. It's beautiful. It's definitely Instagram worthy or TikTok worthy if you're into that thing.
The gummy ramen, she loved it too because they served it with chopsticks, right? And it tastes like sugar. She says it does not taste savory. She's a lover of the dill pickle lemonade from our friends from Mount Olive. And don't forget this next food feature.
It's a barbecue bomb. And it will definitely blow your mind. So it's a layered dish. It's got macaroni and cheese on the bottom. And then there's a deep fried puff pastry that's stuffed with the pulled barbecue pork, a little bit of coleslaw, barbecue sauce, and crispy onions on top of that.
I think no matter what she describes,
Yeah.
you're gonna eat it, right?
That last one sounded
last one,
amazing.
yes.
The barbecue bomb. Yes.
I like that. I don't like the ramen thing because anything that, I like gummies, love them.
Right.
But if they look like savory food, my mind, I can't do it.
Gotcha. You can't make the two come together
Yeah.
that way. All right.
I think the pickle lemonade would be refreshing.
Yeah,
I
I'd
like
like to try
pickles. I like lemonade. I think, and I feel like they would, accommodate each other pretty well.
I think so too.
I'm gonna start my own food truck at the fair.
All right.
Where there's all these dipping sauces and a bunch of random stuff, and you just go and dip whatever you want and just try random things dipped into other
Like
things.
apple in ranch.
Yes.
Or something weird like that.
Absolutely.
You never know.
It has to make sense, y'all.
All right. All right, so fair food is nostalgic, but tasting the new things are great too. Before we go, I wanted to show you these new offerings from the North Carolina State Fair. Check out the deep fried piggy tails. Fried bacon, cinnamon, sugar dusted on top, not to be outdone. More deep fried bacon goodness with these mac and cheese tacos.
Yes.
All right, and let's take a look at dessert. Frozen banana pudding tacos. And yes, it too comes with vanilla wafer, as good nanner puddings always should. Yes.
Yum.
Fair
Temperatures this afternoon have been in the upper 60s and low 70. High temperature for Greensboro, 68 today, 70 degrees at Winston-Salem, 70 degrees in Lexington. Now, the bigger part of the story when we talk about weather today is how cold it was this morning. Reedsville dropped down to 39 degrees, Greensboro at 40, 38 in Albemarle. I mean, these temperatures are chilly across the board. And as you can see, this is kind of not normal for this time of year. We would still be in the 50s for our overnight lows, not dropping as low as 40. Now, when we talk about those freezes and the frost potential for across the area, when we expect that to occur, well, that generally happens around the Halloween holiday on around October 30th. But the earliest we've ever seen it was October 2nd in 1947. That was many years ago. So this is the coldest morning we've had since April. When we talk about the trends of low temperatures, the fall, we start to see those numbers fall. Those overnight lows fall into the 20s. But right around in October and even November, that's when we start to see that decline of overnight low temperatures. And that continues through the months of December as well as January. So taking notice of this morning temperature trend, we're actually getting warmer after this. So if you didn't like the chilly morning, you're good, because tomorrow we're starting out at the 40s, and then Thursday we're in the 50s, and Friday we're in the 50s, but then it crashes again. Temperatures falling to a chilly start to the day on your Saturday. This is all behind a cold front that moves through. So first we have the high pressure, then we have a dry cold front that moves through on your Friday, late Friday, early Saturday. And that cold front, well, it's going to bring in the cold air, and you can see it on this full 7-day as temperatures crash Saturday and Sunday into those 60s and those overnight lows in those chilling 40s. So some folks getting down into the 30s when they wake up in the morning on Sunday, heading out to church. You're certainly going to want to bundle up on Sunday. The next couple of days, we're on an upward trend. Temperatures warming up day by day. The sun sticking with us. One of those days when you're in the sunshine, it feels warm and good. When you're not in the sun and you're in the shade, it is much chillier everywhere across the central Piedmont.
North Carolina A&T Speaker Series kicks off tonight with a big name in TV. Actor, director, and businesswoman Tracy Ellis Ross is holding an on-campus discussion called Empowered, a conversation about women's rights. The Speaker Series is free and open to the public. Tickets will be available on a first-come, first-served basis. So a lot of folks are buzzing with excitement about her discussion. I asked you on my Facebook page, what celebrity would you love to see speak in person? And Dora Parsons says Tyler Perry. Terrell Wilson wrote Morgan Freeman, Candy Burke, Matthew McConaughey. His voice is so soothing. Priscilla Jones, Iyanla Vanzant.
She's intense.
Yes, I've actually seen her speak in person before. And then Tawana Daniels says Viola Davis.
Some powerful people. I actually wanted to go to this event, but the tickets sold out in like 2 hours.
I bet.
Yeah, but I would love to speak with Oprah.
Oh yeah,
Yes, that would be that's on my list as well.
Yeah, that might be top 10 for me as well. You know, who you can see in person is the Bryan Series this year. And I think they're in a couple weeks, October 20th, I think, don't quote me on that, is Venus Williams. And that would be, that'd be an incredible
that would be,
speaker.
yes, that would be great. What about you?
I don't know. There's really nobody that I would like. There's nobody that stands out to me. Like I'm thinking, like, what kind of person? Like, do I want to see a politician? No, because all they do is lie about everything. Like, do I want to see an actor? I don't know, because they're good at acting. And you know,
what about your favorite singer? Maybe someone who wrote a song that impacted your life in some way.
Maybe. But you asked who we would want to see speak, not who we want to speak to.
Who would you want to see speak?
Right.
There's a lot of different people I would want to see, but one person I did see speak when I was back in college, Taraji P. Henson. She was so great, and what I loved about her speech was she allowed people to ask questions, and there were so many people who stood up to ask a question, and she answered everyone's question, even though several people asked the same question, like, I want to be an actress, but my parents don't support me. She answered the question in so many different ways that she could, and I just thought that was so amazing.
I'd have to say, for me, Spielberg and or Ron Howard are two directors that I would love to see. Robert De Niro too.
Okay, I changed my mind. I would want to hear from somebody who is like a serial killer, or someone who has like a crazy mind, just to kind of understand their thought process and just like what's going on.
That is interesting, because all these documentaries and different things that are out. I always say I would want to know What gets you to that
Right,
point?
exactly.
Everyone spoke, and that was your answer.
I know. Did you see me blush a little bit? I was like,
Well,
you would be. There's no famous people I want to hear, but maybe a serial
But if I could talk to
killer.
Ted Bundy for about 20 minutes,
Right.
You know, there are recorded conversations with some of them. I think Bundy is one of them, and
Gracie,
Wayne Gacy.
Wayne Gacy.
Yeah,
it's all
that-
on Netflix. You can
Yes.
check out those series.
All right,
there.
we're taking a hard right turn
We
here.
sure are.
Before we go, time is running out to vote for Friday Football Fever Game of the Week. Just go to our website and find the Game of the Week poll on our homepage. It closes tomorrow at 5.
Blah, 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 blah. 1, 2.
I don't know what that was. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Let's give me everybody with me. 1, 2, 3, 4. Check, check.
Hey, ice cold milk and an Oreo cookie, they forever go together.
I can't do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What are you guys doing?
For one of your photographers over here. Just do this.
Microphone check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Mic check, mic check, mic check. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Guilford County leaders were happy today as they left the local government commission meeting here in Raleigh as the commission
Hey, it's time for my 2 cents. And today I want to talk about something that warmed my heart over the weekend. So my wife had a business trip. She was gone for a week. And if you don't know this, I have 4 kids, and my first 3 were boys. So my only girl was my daughter, Drew. So she and my wife, the only girls in the house, even back when we had our dog, he was a boy too. So she's very tight with her mom, and she was missing her horribly, and she's 9 years old. And so we go to the airport to pick it up, and I love seeing when families get back together at airports and you see them run up to each other. Well, my little girl Drew was about to have a fit for her mother to get home, and it was the cutest. Take a look at her watching down that long hallway to get a glimpse of her mom.
Come on, Mom, come on.
When they finally see each other, you know, you can see of course my son missed her too. My older 2 are in college, but it's that that connection between a mother and a daughter, and watching her, it really warmed my heart, and it made me stop and think about family for a moment and how important those bonds are, especially when we're younger. Well, you know, we shouldn't say that. Even when you're older, sometimes they take on new meanings, right? So moms and dads out there, don't forget how much you mean to those little ones. And when you do take a big trip, get ready for this kind of hug whenever you come back. It's the best. But that's just my 2 cents, and that's your 4 to 5. WFMY News 2 at 5 starts now.
New details about a missing 13-year-old from Michigan who was found in Winston-Salem this week.
Yeah, investigators here say they got a tip about where the 13-year-old was from deputies in Michigan. They found her with 19-year-old Marquarez Josephs, who is now in the Forsyth County Detention.